Hey yo, we put free money where the mic is. He got it on lock like Rikers. Green rebates get you paid, so a lot of people like us. Money Talks Podcast, watch it on all your devices. Woo! Welcome back to the Money Talks Podcast. I am here with Rick from Mosca Seeds. Rick, thank you so much for sitting down with me. How are you feeling, brother?
Hey, great, Ethan. Thanks for having me.
How has MJBiz been? How much of it is work and how much of it is play for Rick?
You know what? It's a really good balance. And as far as work, I don't see it as work because you're making really good connection with a lot of industry leaders. And, you know, it's really networking with them and learning from them and really seeing if there's a synergy, how we can develop and win together.
Love it. So what's the main thing you've learned? Like, what's your biggest takeaway from MJBiz 2024 so far?
Well, that this industry is continuing to evolve. It's changing. And so really it's meeting who are the influential players in the industry and really forming some really good collaborations with them and seeing how we can grow together and be successful.
Totally. So let's hit the rewind button. I want to know, Rick as a kid, what were you like? Where'd you grow up? Let's talk about your roots.
So suburb of Chicago, in the Elgin area.
Cool.
And, you know, it was a really great place to grow up. We had a lot of family in and around the area, Illinois, Iowa. That's where I got first exposed to cannabis, was at some cousins' farms out in Iowa, where we would go out and explore, and they showed me what were 20-foot hemp plants.
Wow.
And they said, "Have you ever seen this?" And it was just like a light went off.
How old were you?
12, 13.
Wow.
And so we took a paper garbage bag, a grocery bag full of buds. We knew nothing of what we were doing.
Jesus.
Put them in mason jars. They got all moldy. We threw apples in there. That didn't help. But so that was really the start of being exposed to the
So when
the
did
plant.
you start like working in cannabis professionally? Like, I guess that's where like you fell in love with it.
Yes.
But when did you start? When did you turn it into a career, and how did that happen?
You know, it started in the late 90s, and it was just trying to find some good flower. Ordered seeds online, went on the forums to learn what I was doing, went
like
to hydroponic
the
shops.
infancy of the internet right there.
Yeah,
The wild
exactly.
West. Yeah.
But there was such a sharing of knowledge that I was so clueless about.
Yeah.
And that was really the start, and really growing out seeds and learning, you know, how to manipulate the plant, you know, what it thrived on, what it did well on. And so a lot of trial and error is what really helped my desire to grow, and then really connecting with some strains of plants. And Cinderella 99 being the first. And it was a time where it was very difficult to find Cinderella 99 seeds. The Brothers Grimm had stopped producing. They had shut down. Joey Weed, they were no longer producing Cinderella. And so I had a friend who was Dutch, who was a breeder. His name is Garrett Slot. He was the owner of Magus Genetics. He guided me on how to do selections, how to breed, the timing. And so lo and behold, I had all these thousands of seeds.
Wow.
I didn't know what to do with. And he suggested, well, send them to Gypsy Nirvana, Seed Bay. It was one of the first online seed stores.
Like seedbabe.com?
Seed Bay, yep.
Oh, Seed
yep.
Bay.
Yes. And it was part of the
like
IC
eBay,
magazine.
it's like a play on
Exactly,
eBay. Oh, okay.
yes. And so that was part of the IC mag forums. And so he sent some of the seeds to Crazy Composer, who was the editor of High Times.
Wow.
And he grew them out, did, you know, a big forum on it and stories. And he said it was the best expression of the pineapple Cinderella 99 he's ever grown. Wow. And then all of a sudden, everybody wanted seeds. And Gypsy said to me, well, it's time that you had your own forum.
Yeah.
And so I never set out to be a breeder, but that's how I got indoctrinated.
How did that feel, like knowing, like getting that much validation for your work? Was it like
It was overwhelming because it's not just like putting seeds in a bag. You have to start with the brand, names. I mean, there were just so many different components to it.
And it was just you. You were like, wait,
It
I
was
need a
just
team
me.
now. Did you
Yes.
like hire anybody, or did you
Eventually,
Okay.
but back then
You had
I didn't. I just did it all,
Uh-huh.
and but it was it worked out well. We were very lean, and we put out some good product that we always tested before releasing, and I think that quality aspect has really gone a long way for our success over the 20-some years that I've been breeding.
So when did you first really start like making relationships with growers?
Well, on the forums,
Yeah.
because they would ask me, questions, very specific questions, and I really liked that because it helped me really understand the plant better, and I looked at it through, their point of view. If they had an issue or if they had something positive, a different experience of what mine was, of how, we could all succeed.
Yeah, and that really was like the golden era of the internet, late 90s, early 2000s.
Yep.
There wasn't just a bunch of people trying to scam you. It was just, let's share our knowledge and let's really connect and
Exactly.
make some money together. What would have happened if you had these seeds in like the late 80s before the internet? Like,
Oh boy, I think it would have been much more challenging.
yeah.
Because, IC Magazine was a very international based online forum. And so, I learned from people from Canada, folks from Holland, people in the United States. And so I think that really helped create a very positive culture.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was late 90s. You're on the forum. When does like your company really start to expand and start to like, do well and become like really profitable?
We've always been very successful. And so it's not about just trying to do the most sales that we can. It's about really putting out quality. On our brand, we always, our tagline is quality genetics. And so we achieve that through testing and having test growers try out our products, and then really looking at it. And if there's any issues, we won't release them. I can't tell you how many times I've actually created some genetics that just didn't meet our standards, and we never released them.
Wow.
Even though they had some really good phenos and something very special, but just if it's not going to be good for everyone,
Right.
we're not going to release it.
It's like the executive chef who won't send, who will not send that plate of food out if it isn't perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Nice. So what was like, you've been in the game for a while now. Are you surprised with where it is today in 2024? Like, could you have predicted that the game would be the way it is today?
That's a great question. I didn't think it would evolve to what it is now, but I understand it. Looking back at the evolution of, the MSOs, the larger cultivation companies, and how it's kind of been piecemeal with all the states. But I think in the long run, it's going to be good for the plant and for people to really get that medicine
Yeah.
available to them.
Right.
So, yeah, now it's not something I would have predicted, but I'm glad to see how it's developing. There's been some bumps in the road.
Right.
But I think, for those companies that are flexible, that can adapt to the market conditions and with what's happening, I think they'll be successful.
Got it. Was there ever a time you thought about leaving cannabis, or was there ever a time where you felt like the industry wasn't in good hands?
Not really, because I think our success has been really driven by what we do. We're smokers at Mosca Seeds, and
Yeah.
so we design and create strains based on what we like. And, fortunately, we're in tune with a lot of very good growers, good breeders, that we're able to share knowledge and really stay on the forefront of what's coming out to the market, and it's different. The West Coast, what they like is completely different than what's popular on the East Coast.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
what is more popular on the East Coast? Because I'm just like
East Coast, the sour diesel, the
Okay.
NYCD.
Interesting.
Yeah, more of the citrus, Tropicanas, whereas on the West Coast, much different.
Yeah.
I mean, they're into candy, gas, and in fact, tonight we're going to a connected event
Oh, yeah, I heard
where
about that.
it's the best gas and candy, So last night we went to a very exclusive dinner that they had, and they had all the entries there. It was all fire.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just very impressive.
Do you feel like a celebrity when you come to MJBiz? Like you're
No,
You
not
don't
at
have-
all.
yeah.
Not at all. I mean, I'm much more grounded than that.
Right.
But, it's great to see, folks that really started the whole genetics industry. A good friend of mine is James Loud. He's been a pioneer. We saw Aryan Roskamp from the greenhouse yesterday and then today. I mean, these are people I look up to
Right.
and really, appreciate what they've done to help the industry.
Right. So what's you've worked with a lot of growers, you've seen a lot of successful growers. What's something that like successful growers have in common? Like the growers that have had real longevity in the industry.
They're not afraid to make mistakes. That's part of it because we're not perfect. We don't always understand what we're doing. But then I've realized that the more that I know, the more I realize what I don't know.
Right.
And so that's part of the beauty of I say that growing is addictive because you just keep learning, and that's part of the beauty of it.
It is, and it's such a it kind of teaches you patience.
Yes, yes, absolutely, and it's very therapeutic.
Yeah.
So,
and just every day, I mean, growth. Life is growth. Every day we're growing. So the plant is like a metaphor for our hearts.
yes,
Maybe.
yes, that we connect with, that we can appreciate.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we actually also have some rapid fire questions that because this is a Money Talks podcast. So it's just like fun money related questions.
Okay.
You have 15 seconds to answer each one. First thing that comes to your head. What's the dumbest purchase you've ever made? Doesn't have to be in the cannabis industry.
Dumbest purchase? Buying some Beats off of eBay.
Oh,
Beats
no.
headphones.
Really? They didn't work? Were they?
They were fakes.
Oh, they were, were they like 20.
And I didn't know until I tried to return them to Beats and said they didn't work.
And Dr. Dre was like, "That's not me, bro."
Yeah.
What's the smartest purchase you've ever made?
Investing in quality lighting for my plants, LEDs. Once they hit the market, really looked at what was out there, and that made a huge change.
How hard was it learning how to manage money? Because they don't teach us that in school.
Well, fortunately, my graduate degree is in business.
Oh, okay.
And so I have an MBA, and that's really helped me the discipline.
Yeah, you were kind of ahead of the game. Do a lot of people in cannabis do they have to learn on the job, learn as they go, business?
Absolutely, because you're wearing a lot of different hats, and depending on the scale of your operation.
Totally. What's another? Would you rather have no money or no friends? I think I know your answer to this.
Friends. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Friends and family.
Totally. What's the lowest amount of money you'd go streaking in an NFL game for?
If I'm going to be on TV, $1.
Would you put the Mosca Seeds? You tattoo the Mosca Seeds across the chest.
Yes, sir.
And then there you go. It's worth it. Last Rebates. I forgot we're a rebate company. We haven't talked about Rebates. What do you know about Rebates?
It's been really impressive finding out more about what Green Rebates does and how they're able to help, these cultivation centers. It's amazing. I did not realize the scale of what these rebates are in all the states that it's available. I mean, it's fantastic. What a great, great opportunity for cultivation centers and growers to be able to purchase, quality lighting.
Yeah, it's empowering, and it's it's helping the world too. It's energy efficiency. That's where the world's
Yeah.
going, you know? So thank you for that plug there. And last question I have for you. Thank you so much for sitting down. You've been a joy, and thanks for your patience and flexibility. I know today's been crazy.
Thanks for the opportunity,
Of
Ethan.
course. Is free money real? Is there such thing as free money?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. You know, if you're going to buy, 100 lights, and you can have a state-funded program to help you pay for those, that's gravy.
There we go, baby. And that's what Green Rebates is. Rick Mosca Seeds, the legend himself. Thank you so much for sitting down.
Oh,
with
thanks
me,
so
man.
much, Ethan. Cheers.
Yeah.